Hello guys, my name is David Bond and today we're checking out the EurekaProm chip in combination with the Kemper Profiling Amp. So the EurekaProm chip is a chip that's designed to go inside the Behringer FCB1010 that you can see down here, just to change the way that it behaves and to tailor it a little bit more towards usage with the Kemper. Now it should be noted that the EurekaProm chip can be set to a few different settings so that it can communicate with a range of other products as well, such as the Axe FX or the Line 6 pod and so on. I don't own any of those, so I'm only really demonstrating it in usage with a Kemper Profiling Amp, and it's already set up in that setting at the moment. So let's have a look then. The Behringer FCB1010 is just a MIDI switching pedal. It can communicate with any piece of equipment that accepts MIDI, and you plug it into the MIDI in and out on the back of the Kemper. It's got 4 different modes. When you mod the FCB1010 with the EurekaProm chip, it basically just has 4 different modes. You have effects mode, presets mode, favorite presets mode, and specials mode. I don't know if you can quite see on the second camera angle these LEDs that would indicate those different modes. And I can cycle through those modes using the up and down pedals on the pedal over here. So starting in effects mode then, this is really cool. It just allows us to switch stomp boxes on the Kemper on and off. So at the moment I've got stomp box A, C and also the reverb switched on, and they correspond to pedal number 1, pedal number 3 and pedal number 8. If I was to switch number 8 off, you'll see maybe my reverb light go off here. I don't know if you can quite make that out on this camera angle there. So that's cool. It just allows us in real time to switch stomp boxes on and off on the amp. At the moment this is set to a 1964 blackface bassman, which sounds something like this. And if I was to switch, for example, pedal number 1 off, it's stomp box A, which is a compressor, so we just get just a less compressed tone, basically. So that's pretty useful. Moving on to presets mode then. This allows us to change different rigs, between different rigs. And we do that by assigning different rigs to different MIDI channels or programs in the system menu of the Kemper. So again, I don't know if you can quite make out the screen there, it's probably a little bit small. But if you access the system menu, you can assign any rig you want to any of the programs or the MIDI channels that you can control then with the Behringer FCB1010. So if I exit that, you'll see that at the moment I've set up MIDI channel number 1 to being my 1964 blackface bassman in kind of a clean sound, which is the exact same amp that we heard just a minute ago. Because I use that amp quite a lot, so it makes sense for me to have it readily available there. If I go to number 2, it changes my rig to a bass guitar type simulator. Which I use just for looping or quick recordings of rough bass tracks and so on. It's really just a basic amp sound with the transpose on it, which moves everything down an octave. Stomp box C, or well, pedal number 3 I should say, moves me to MIDI channel number 3, which I've got set up again with this 64 blackface bassman. I seem to have some kind of fixation with this amp, but it's now set to more lead sounds. So it's tweaked a little bit. I've kind of added a few different stomp boxes, some different EQ settings, compressor. So it's just set up a little bit differently, and it allows me to quickly go to that particular lead sound if I want to. I'm not going to go through all my presets here, but if I went to number 4, I've got that set to a Splawn Nitro, which is like a metal amp. So, you know, it allows me to change my amp sound really quickly. Favorite presets, it's really just allows you again to switch different rigs, but you can assign different presets or different rigs to being your favorite. So say you had like 128 rigs that you used, but you only really used 8 or 10 of them on a regular basis, you can assign those as being your favorite rigs, and then you can access them quickly using the favorite presets buttons. And the last one is specials mode, which basically allows us to change the way that these two expression pedals, well actually just this expression pedal behaves. The expression pedal on the right will always function as a volume pedal. So we can kind of, sorry, I've got the wrong amp model altogether set up there. So if I switch back to my blackface bassman, we don't want that Splawn Nitro anymore. So yeah, as I was saying, at the moment, well, all the time, this right pedal behaves as a volume pedal. You can swell chords in, or get the whole violin effects on your lead tones, or whatever you're wanting to do, or just use it to kill your sound altogether. The left-hand expression pedal defaults to behaving as a wah pedal, so without any kind of modding. Nice little wah-wah sound I've dialed in to kind of sound a little bit like a crybaby. But using this mode on the FCB1010, we can now change the way that this pedal behaves to control a range of other functions. So for example, if I press number 2, it would change the amount of delay coming into the mix. So if I had a ton of delay on and I wanted to use that for some parts of a song, for example, I could kind of fade in the amount of delay using this expression pedal when I set it to that. The other things that we've got available, amount of reverb in the mix, reverb time, you can change the reverb time in real time with the expression pedal, gain on the rig itself, and over here we've got a few other things. You can use it as a pitch controller as well. Cool thing as well, you can also use this pedal number 10 here in effects mode to go straight to the tuner. So I don't know if you can see, but I've gone straight to the tuner here on the screen of the Kemper. So that's pretty much everything to do with how it works. Let's just check out how to install it then, because it's really easy to do. It's not a difficult mod at all, but it's worth having a quick video of how you'd go about installing the chip itself. So first things first, let's check out what we get when we order a EurekaProm from Eureka Sounds. Everything that you can see in shot will arrive in the package. So firstly, we've got the chip itself, which is contained in this little plastic bag here. And then over here we've got a sticker which goes on the front of the FCB1010, and we've got a Eureka Sound logo sticker. I don't know if you can quite make out, but up here it says setup instructions are found, and it gives you a URL which leads you to some very comprehensive instructions on how to install the chip. We'll get around to that in just a second. And if we open up this little booklet here, inside we've got a whole bunch of stickers that we're going to use on the front of the FCB1010 to label up all the pedals so we know exactly what they all do. Alright, so checking out the installation procedure for the EurekaProm chip. As you can see, I've flipped my FCB1010 onto its front here. So this is the underside of the unit that we're looking at here, all battered and bruised from gigging. And you're going to need a couple of tools to do this as well. You're going to need a set of pliers like this. I've got one on my Swiss Army knife here. And you're going to need 2 screwdrivers. So you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver like this one. And you're also going to need a flathead screwdriver. So I've got a screwdriver that actually doubles up as both, so I can use a flathead on the other side of it. So firstly, we need to remove all the screws on the back of the FCB1010 that aren't recessed. So there's 16 of them in total. I've already removed most of them just to speed this up a little bit. There's only 3 screws that you don't need to remove, and that's this one here, and this one here. And as you can see, they're all recessed. So let's take all the rest of them out then. When you have removed them, you probably want to put them somewhere safe so that you don't lose them, because we are going to need them to close the thing back up. Once you've done that, removed all 16 screws, just clear your work surface a little bit, because we're going to need to flip the lid open here. You should probably note, I don't know what this does to your warranty for your FCB1010. I would assume that it probably invalidates it. So here's the inside of the unit itself. As you can probably see, we've got a ground connection going here to the back plate. So make sure that you don't sever that. You don't need to disconnect it or anything. You can leave it as it is. I'm going to now focus in on the original chip that we need to remove, which is here. So if I zoom my camera in a little bit, then we can get a better look at what we're doing here. So right here where my screwdriver is, this is a chip that we need to remove. It's kind of partially covered up by some wires at the moment. And when you open it up, you'll see that there's a whole load of glue that's sealing it down onto the circuit board underneath it. So you're going to need to remove all of that glue. Now, don't worry too much about getting it off. It doesn't serve any electrical purpose. It's literally just holding the chip in place. So this is probably where your set of pliers are going to come in handy. Most of my glue's already been removed, but you're just going to take it all away. It might be quite tough to remove, so you just need to kind of work it off, use your fingers if you need to, and then free the thing up. Really, the important thing is that you sever any connection of glue between the bottom, i.e. the socket that the chip is in, and the chip itself. Once you've done that, you can leave glue on the top. You don't need to remove it all meticulously. So once you've done that, you're going to use your flathead screwdriver now. This is where this comes in handy. And you're going to remove the chip. So you might want to just put the flathead screwdriver into the left of the chip here and just try and wedge it out of the socket that it's contained in. Like that. And then on the other side, to get the other side freed up, and then you can just use your fingers to remove it. Just be careful that you don't bend any of these pins on the bottom of the original chip, because you never know, you might want to use it again. Cool, so grab your EurekaProm chip and you're just going to insert it in place with the writing facing towards you like this. So just make sure that all the little pins go into the little slots where they need to be in the socket underneath. Just being careful not to scratch the circuit board underneath or anything like that. Once it's in place, you're going to flip the lid back over, so I'll zoom my camera back out a little bit. And you're going to flip your lid back over like this. And put all 16 screws back into place in these holes going around the edge. And then you need to plug it all into your Kemper Profiling Amp. So you're going to use the MIDI out from the pedal itself to go to the MIDI in on the Kemper. And then you're going to use the MIDI in on this pedal to the MIDI out on the Kemper.